Whew, we remembered. Okay. Yay. Good to have you all. I'm gonna have you mute, or I can mute you. There we go. And you guys can hear me okay? Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, happy Friday. Good to see everybody. Glad you guys are here, whether you're live or watching a recording. Tending to ourselves, and this self-care is so important right now. Yeah. So let's just get right into it. Make sure you guys can see my mat okay. Excuse me. So we're going to start today's class lying down on our back. I know for these lung classes, we've been starting standing a bit, and we did some starting seated. Today, I want us just to get really supported position on our back. So laying down. Good. And pretty much any positioning that feels comfortable. Ideally, having some kind of a bend in the legs. So in a lot of my other therapeutic classes, we'll do this position called restorative rest, with the knees bent, feet on the ground, and finding a distance of the legs away from the body, away from each other, that the legs start to feel a sense of ease and relaxation, non-effort. If you have the feet real close to the body, the leg muscles might be tense and holding unconsciously. And maybe even resting the knees towards each other, or some props under the knees are fine too. But the purpose for this is to get the spine in a neutral position, helping the pelvis to be neutral, just getting all the structures and all the energies flowing and communicating. And then notice if your head might feel like it needs a little support, you can roll a towel, placing it under the neck, use a pillow. Nestle in, get comfy. So it's just feeling this point of contact with the ground right now. And feeling it holding you, your body weight against it. And just notice through your noticing of this relationship with the ground, if any sensations start to shift, your body starts to feel a little bit more sense of release, letting go. And then we're going to take our awareness to the top of the head and see if you can find the sensations there. So just like we noticed the sensations, the felt sensations in the body through that relationship with the floor, now just noticing the top of the head. See if you notice anything. And whether you notice anything or not, start to draw your attention down your body, this body scan. So with body scans, we're just moving our attention slowly through the body and finding a consistent pace. And paying attention to what you feel. Notice how the sensations shift and change. What is alive in any given area? What is ready to release? What you notice. And if your mind gets distracted, thinking of something else, or fixated, kind of just going into something, getting stuck there. Just keep going down with that same pace you originally chose. And so once you made your way through your whole body, swept through, just notice how the whole body as one unit now feels. This collective you, this collective singular body. How are the sensations shifting when you just notice this wholeness? And then how does it feel to drop in your awareness of your breath? And so you might notice this expansive feeling as you inhale, maybe even a sense of expansion beyond self. You might notice a emptying, releasing feeling, grounding as you exhale, settling in deeper. And so there's this more subtle body quality that comes when we pay attention to the sensations through the lens of the breath. And in yoga, we call this energy or prana. And we'll be going quite a bit more into that view of the body in future classes. Today is sort of a bit of a bridge class. Our past classes, the series is intended to educate about and support the experience, embodied experience of supporting your lungs, breathing. And so today's class, we're still going to be looking at the structures of the body, the structures of the lungs and other supporting areas, but also seeing how this is this bridge with this subtle energetic. So notice now, you can put your hands at your diaphragm, so it's just below your lungs and above your belly button. And so notice as you're breathing, how this region of the body moves. And so the diaphragm is a big dome-shaped muscle as you inhale. It's expanding as it drops to create room for the ribs to expand and the lungs to fill. Or underneath the way. And then as you exhale, it domes and relaxes upward following the emptying lungs. And so you can kind of just sense this little part of you moving. Good. And so bring your hands down now to your lower belly, below the navel, about over the pubic region. And just sense down deep into the pelvis. And notice when you inhale, there's an expansion under your hands and all the way down into the hips, reaching the pelvic floor, this other dome structure in the body. And there's a similar relationship. When you inhale, there's this expansiveness, and when you exhale, the pelvic floor pulls upward. This little thread up towards the diaphragm, towards the heart. And so just notice this relationship, maybe one hand on the diaphragm, one hand on the pubic region. And imagine how as you're inhaling, both domes are floating, expanding, they're dropping. And then as you're exhaling, both domes are threading upward. And there's no getting it right or any strain to make it happen. This is what is naturally happening. Good. So now, well, this is kind of be our reference of awareness throughout much of the class. We'll bring in some other domes into our awareness, but this primary dome, the diaphragm, and the secondary dome, this primary relationship, is really such a piece of building your embodiment and supporting your lungs and getting into these deeper awarenesses with the energetics, how they all play. So let's take our arms now. We'll finally start some movement. So taking the arms overhead and get a big reach. And so just notice as you reach the arms, feel the reach of the breath inside. Good. And as you exhale, sweep the arms down your side. Good. And so we can inhale, arcing up and over. Feeling that nice reach with the arms, with the spine, but maybe this curiosity is that as to what's happening with that inner reach and movement of the breath. How are those domes moving right now? Good. And after you finish that last one, gently take your knees up to your chest. So feel that opening into the low back. And you can have your hands supporting your legs super duper passive. And stretch the elbows straight. And just take a moment here, big inhale, filling up. And as you exhale, excuse me, let the elbows bend and take those thighs closer to your belly. And so just back and forth, inhale, open. And exhale, bend. And just notice this nice, easeful shape, how it relaxes and opens the hips and the low back. But you also might have a deeper eye, paying attention to the belly, and an even deeper eye through the lens of the breath, what's happening with those domes. Good. Last one. So we remain with the right leg. And we can place the left foot on the floor or extend the leg if that feels better. And take that right foot towards the sky. And you might even gaze at your foot. Give it a little stretch. Start to circle it. Spread the toes. And so we're going to be introducing our awareness to another dome here in the arch of the foot. So we'll really go both ways with your movement. We'll really start to feel how that dome functions with the others when we're standing. Just notice just the sensations through the foot as you move, the shin. And then relax the foot, let the knee bend a bit. And so you're kind of putting the hamstring on slack. Everybody's really relaxed. So now flex the foot. You're pulling the toe toward the shin and then reach towards the sky. This real kind of spongy stretch and then soften and slack. So inhale, stretch. And exhale, slack. Do that a couple more times. Be real gentle to yourself, especially if you have any kind of conditions with your back or just anything doesn't feel right. Such easeful motion. But notice as you're doing this, your mind is maybe attentive to what is my foot, my leg feeling, but can you also feel the whole with your breath? When you're really breathing, noticing the sensations through the breath, how does your whole body feel? How does that feeling in the pelvis feel? Good. And then we'll pause there and start to take the leg across midline. So if the other leg is straight, you're activating it against the floor to stabilize the pelvis. If your leg is bent, you're bringing it the other direction across midline to help stabilize the pelvis. So either way, we're just bringing that leg into a nice outer thigh stretch. You can bend the ankle like I'm doing. And you can even do just a little micro bend extend with the knee. You see how that kind of takes it off and puts it on. But notice you can feel the stretch all the way from the hip to the down the leg to the outer ankle, the outer side of the foot. And you also might draw another line from your arch all the way up the inner thigh to the pelvic floor. And just imagine how everything's connected here. One more breath. Finding whatever level of micro movement or stillness feels good so you can really remain embodied in your breath. Good. And then we'll relax that leg. Place it to the floor. Just observe how you feel for a moment. How does your breath move? How does that subtle sense of energy move? And then we'll take the other leg up and in. And release the foot towards the sky and say hello to that foot. These feet that carry us around all day. You might have a little different relationship with this foot, different sensations, different things going on with this leg. Just really spreading the toes. You know, all these bones in the feet as you spread the toes. Imagine you could really access some of those deeper tissues in the foot that help to support the arch, awaken the arch. Good. And then we'll bend the knee, pull the foot into flexion. And then just micro bend extends for the hamstring. Inhale up. And exhale down. And really just giving yourself this time to just feel and be with your body. We're breathing slowly. We have no agenda but to feel and connect. Not trying to fix or change anything. We're just kind of using this time to, if anything, listen to the body, see what it has to inform us of. How does that deeper lens of the breath, maybe again connecting those domes, moving diaphragm, sensations into the pelvic floor, how does that embodiment maybe support this experience through the back of the leg? And then you can hold the leg there, coming into an outer thigh stretch, bringing the leg across midline. You can arc the foot like we did the other side to get more of a stretch. And you can also do bend extend. You can even take the opposite arm out. What is happening in this world on this side of this leg, all the way from the hip to the outer foot, and also drawing that line from the arch to the pelvic floor. Find your breath. And then when we're done, we can lower that foot to floor. Just observe the subtle sensations, the subtle currents. How does your breath feel? How does your breath feel different? So you can imagine if you're coming here for lung support, just something like opening the legs can actually help your breathing because it gives you more access, more embodiment. Okay, so we'll take the knees up and we'll do one more stretch for the legs. So we're going to open up the legs wide now. So our knees started towards chest, but loosely, not tucked up and in. And when we open the legs wide, our sacrum is really plateaued on the ground, so our low back is nice and neutral. Then we can place the hands behind the legs, and we can either just prop here, just resting, letting the legs empty out, or if it feels better, the hands on the tops of the legs. Or we can reach, give a little stretch that way, just like we did before. So bend and extend. Inhale out, exhale, bend. And so just this positioning of the legs gives us more just feeling of openness, not only through the legs, but through the groin, through the pelvic floor. How that enhances our embodiment of it. Good. And then when we're done, we'll come back to center and take a gentle twist. So opening the arms wide like a T. or bending the elbows like a goalpost position. So just using whatever arm position to leverage and gently press into the earth to get some support. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, tuck the knees towards your chest and slowly go to the side. So if you're dealing with any back concerns, you might have a prop already in place, like a bolster or pillow that your legs can go against, so you're not going into such a deep twist. And then we can stay there. Let the head look opposite. And then as we exhale, feel that. Exhale first. Feel how the tummy muscles naturally recruit. And then use that feeling of the breath to support you back up and out, all the way over to the other side. Stay there, breathe in. So moving on exhale. So if you stagger your legs more, it's a little bit easier. You can vary how deep you go. If you keep your legs glued together as you go, then you can go deeper into it and work more core. So just depending on what your needs are. And also once you're in the shape, if you want to stretch out the top leg. Just gotta close my window. Couple more. And so notice as you're doing this, especially when you're staying in the shape on the inhale, what's happening between those two domes, between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor? And maybe even especially if you're extending the leg, bringing your foot awareness into it. Just seeing how these inner landmarks give a little bit of reference to just how to find our internal body. So once you've done what feels like an even number of times, lower your feet back to the floor. Feel the belly nice and open. And just once again, observe what you feel now, what's changed. Good. So before we do the next couple of postures, we're going to bring our awareness up to another dome, another structure in the body. So we've kind of really awakened this lower part of the body, especially from the sort of the chest down. But now noticing your mouth. So open your mouth, close your mouth, kind of do scrunchy face, swish the lips side to side. You stick out your tongue. Move your tongue side to side. So we have all these structures in the mouth that are fascially connected to each other. Can everybody still hear me okay? Yeah, okay, just want to make sure. As you move the mouth, the tongue, even opening that ha breath, any tension that might be existing fascially or energetically in this region can start to open. And so notice just above, like at the roof of the mouth, notice that's another dome. And how when you change the shape of your lips and your mouth, opening and closing, that dome structure, you might feel different sense of sensation through there. Good. So we're going to bring our body into a bridge, and we'll start to get even a little bit more somatic awareness into that dome with this positioning and some breathing. So we'll walk our feet approximately underneath the knees, arms closer to the body at your side, pressing the palms down, keeping the broadness in the chest. Let's take a big inhale here, feeling this whole interior presence. And then as we exhale, we'll slowly root down against the ground with our feet and arms and lift the hips up. And we'll stay here as we inhale. So we'll notice this position naturally brings our chin towards our throat, opens the back of the neck, and also opens the structures internally through the mouth, through the palate. And then as we exhale, we'll lower back down. You can inhale there. And so back and forth, moving on exhale. And on that inhale, just notice what you feel through the whole body. You follow that whole pathway of the breath from the nostrils, across the palate, the lungs, you have the diaphragm, the pelvic floor move, even sensing how the feet are rooting. And then as you exhale, carry that awareness all the way back out as you lower. So again, we're moving our bodies through time and space, through gravity. With the exhale, the exhale has this naturally more supportive activation of the tummy core muscles of the pelvic floor. And then the inhale gives us this moment to really embody, expand, and feel that internal presence. The next time you're in the lifted shape, remain there for a moment, a couple moments. Even wait through the feet. Maybe imagine the domes of the feet activating this sense of lift through the arch. Carry that sense of lift up the inner thigh to the pelvic floor. Just how are those domes relating, communicating, stabilizing? And you can also bring that inner dome, that awareness from the pelvic floor to the diaphragm. And notice just above the diaphragm, the back of the heart, a slight lift towards your chin. So the back of your heart's lifting and lifting, ever so subtly accentuating that, the opening in the mouth, the back of the neck. Good. 1 or 2 more breaths here. This pose is also helping to stretch the hip flexors, the mid, the upper back area, and giving a lot of strength and stability through the body. So as you are ready to lower, go slowly 1 vertebra at a time. I think you can even traction the spine a bit, thinking of the tailbone as reaching towards the backs of the calves. And once your sacrum hits down, just feel what you feel. And maybe you want to bring the knees to chest. You can even, excuse me, couple that between a knees to chest and bridge. So from that to chest, you could go into bridge and even add the arms if that feels good for you. You could also leave them at your side. So a couple more breaths, either moving between these 2 shapes or just knees to chest or even just feet to floor, observing the shifting sensation. Good. And then once we're done, we'll do, bring ourselves kind of passively into bridge just to support and hold that shape for a little longer, going into some of the more subtle sensations, energetics at play in the passive shape. So if you have pillow or bolster, you can use that underneath you. There's a couple different ways you can support yourself in bridge. You can have your bolster pillow this way that I'm demonstrating, or long ways. So if you have it just on your sacrum, you can feel that support really plateaued on the sacrum, so you're not falling off the front or the back. And you can have your knees up and in. You can even do Viparita Karani with your legs inverted. Or you might feel good with your feet on the floor, maybe your feet on another bolster or on your bed. to have real passive legs. And you can even straighten out the legs. So I'm going to give a lot of options. And then, of course, you can do all those same leg positions if you're in the other shape. So this one, the edge of the bolster is kind of more just below the bra line. And so the shoulders are really stationed on the ground, but it just gives a little bit more opening through across the diaphragm into the thoracic spine. So it just gives more mobility, more subtle body opening. Same thing with your positioning here, the feet. You just sense like where am I able to position my legs to where I'm just super duper empty and relaxed. It just takes away a feeling of having to hold myself. We know our body's best, especially when we really turn this inward lens of paying attention, observing through sensation, listening to the body. The body will tell us. And if just for whatever reason this position doesn't feel good in your body, you can just rest in restorative rest, or legs up the wall, or legs up on a chair. And so we've been doing quite a bit of just really gentle movement. So now we're exploring this little moment of stillness. Yet seeing, as we look within, there's still so much movement going on with the breath, with our sensations, with the energy of the body. And so again, as we've been kind of just re-harnessing our mind, just this extra little curiosity towards these structures of breath, these domes. And notice these domes in this shape. So again, you don't have to do anything to the domes. You don't have to make anything different happen. You're just observing, witnessing how they interact. And so this is an extra curious shape because you're inverted a bit. So your hips higher than your heart. So the organs that normally have a certain amount of pressure down into the pelvic cavity and against the pelvic floor, a certain relationship with the diaphragm and the lungs has changed a bit here. So there's pressure taken off the pelvic floor. You might be able to feel the pelvic floor a little bit easier. That embodiment, the sensations with your breath. And you also might be able to feel the diaphragm a little easier. This is also a way to help kind of release the diaphragm, the weight of the organs themselves, especially if you suspend the exhale a bit. Just take your time with that exhale, a little longer exhale, pausing after the exhale. We're actually putting the diaphragm on a bit of a stretch. And also this shape is stimulating sensation and different positioning, not only in the neck and the regions of the face, but internally inside the mouth, that dome of the palate of the mouth. So be here for about 4 more breaths. And again, you're not having to do anything, just be, witness, enjoy. Witness the sensations, maybe visualizing the structures, or maybe your mind wants to move to that sort of deeper movement of energy flow. Just feeling how the breath is really such an anchor, not only the inhale and the exhale, but the pauses of the breath. So we'll finish off our last breath there. And then slowly starting to make your way to where you can counter shape. So if your feet were on the floor, maybe it'll feel better to bring your knees up and in. If your knees were up and in, maybe it'll feel better to bring your feet down. And then wherever you're at, maybe exploring just a tiny pelvic tilt, in and out. Just the tiniest little movement. Maybe actually bringing yourself into an active bridge and out of it. In and out of that. And then start to make your way to your side. Push your bolster out of the way. We'll come back to that towards the end of class. And then we'll come all the way up onto hands and knees. So taking a little cat-cow to counter that shape that we just did. So from here, feeling the back gently opening up, the head releasing, and then imagine your belly really lifting upward, upward, upward. The organs all shifting and moving, and then reverse the spine. Back and forth exhale as you move into a mad cat. Coming even all the way to that exhale, pause, and then inhale, reverse. We'll do about 4 more of these. You can also add a lion's breath. So as you exhale, sticking out your tongue like we did earlier in exploration with the mouth. And inhale through the nose. And as you're doing that lion's breath, again, you might let your mind notice beyond just the mouth, but the whole body, purging all the way from the pelvic floor, all the way through to the diaphragm, out the mouth. Notice how all those domes shift and move. And last one, you can even imagine there's a sort of link between the domes. In yoga, we call this the central channel, the Sushumna. It's this actual energetic channel, cleaning out that channel. Good. And then pausing center. And then starting to make your way to the side and up. So then starting to move more laterally and feeling into the side bodies. And this could be very tiny, it could be real big. You can start to bend the elbows, make it more of a spirally shape. Letting your body unwind here. So again, we've been talking about some of these deeper structures called the fascia, this connective tissue that is surrounding everything in your body, all your muscles, all your organs, all your vessels. Imagine your fascia is all just one singular webbing. So imagine right now the whole fascia is really just intelligently knowing how to unwind itself. You're just sort of witnessing it. And then go the other direction. Maybe start a little smaller, more circular. You can also imagine how all the domes are really helping to mobilize through the diaphragm, the pelvic floor, the palate of the mouth. Because these domes are not only places of function and relationship, but they're also places where they can get really dysfunctional, and we hold our tension there. Just imagine really opening those domes. Good. And then when we're Ready, we can take our way back into child's posture. And once again, start to make our way into an intention of stillness. And so if child's posture is uncomfortable at all, feel free to put supports under your ankles if you're feeling in tightness there. Behind the knees, you can roll up a towel or put a pillow. It can be really helpful. Or even something underneath the hips, even under the sternum. You can even use your bolster to support, or a couple pillows to support you. We'll be here for just a little bit, not super long, but get comfy. Have your head resting on either the floor or on your hand or on your pillow. And as you settle into an ease with the stillness, just like we did in the child's posture, or excuse me, the bridge, notice how there's energy still moving. Sort of that echo of the fascial unwind. And imagine now some more subtle body, an energetic unwind. And then harnessing your awareness again, once again, back to the domes of the body. So especially the pelvic floor and diaphragm, the two primary domes. The pelvic floor, there's just the positioning of the shape. It can give us some good access. So practice that elongation of the exhale and that little bit of retention, the pausing of the exhale. And see what happens to the pelvic floor, how it really starts to lift. So again, when we're exhaling, the pelvic floor is actually activating. It's contracting, not tightening, not by you tightening it like a Kegel, but it's just subtle. And it is maybe like the tiniest initial application of a Kegel. Good. Couple more breaths here. And notice also this shape is so nice because it gives us access to sensation through the back body. So with the belly against the thighs, we can feel the breath diverted through the back body, feeling into the back of the sacrum, the back of the ribs. You can imagine the back of the lungs getting more ability to fill up all those little alveolar sacs. Good. And so now we'll extend the arms and we can walk the hands to the left a bit and bow our ribs into the right, and just notice that whole right side. So notice as you did this, you didn't lift through the shoulder, causing rotation in the spine. Shoulders are really relaxed, not shrugged by the ears. And notice that whole side body from pinky to the hip crease. And then also that internal body from the nostril, the palate, all the way along the central channel, those domes on that right side. One more breath here again, that maybe that intrigue of that little extra longer exhale, the after effect of the inhale. And then walk back to center, observe how you feel. And then switch to the other side. So walking the hands the other way, bowing into that left side. If this shape is just not working for you, you can sit upright and do an upper body stretch. You can lay back down, stretching the body. All kinds of ways to alternate position, have that same function and same kind of internal nuance of what's going on. Not only feeling the stretch from the pinky to the hip, but that deeper inner experience along the domes on that side with the breath. And when you're ready, come back to center. Observe how you feel at center. And then we could do just a real gentle coupling between child and all fours. So from here, rocking up to all fours, and then back to child. Elongating the breath, coming to that pause. And then feel the inhale start, and then wait for the inhale, and then go when you feel the inhale. If you want to make it, take it into, instead of child, you can go into down dog. So from all fours, curl under the toes. And then all the way till empty, pausing on empty. Imagine how those domes are aligned. And then inhale right back out. One more time in motion, and then stay in the down dog for a few breaths. If you're preferring not to do down dog, you can do up dog, or excuse me, child. And actually, if you'd like to even couple, do a few more flowing, especially those of you that take my class regularly. So rather than just stopping at center, you can tuck and extend. So just going between up dog, through center, and then down dog, just getting just a little bit more full motion through the body. That's fine as well. Exhaling through, inhale, stay. Exhale back. Good, so finally make your way staying either in the down dog or the child, or if up dog is calling you to stay, then just whatever shape really in these cycles of shapes. Notice your breath. Notice this full embodiment. Especially that extra interest of this inner eye of how these domes all link. One last breath there. And then we'll slowly help ourselves up into standing. Here we are. And as you stand, once you get oriented, feel free to shake it out a bit. Just let the body be loose. Shake it any way that feels good. The joints loose, the tissues releasing, using the shake to shake out your nervous system, is helping to release any freeze response. Feel your organs shaking, your gut, your breath, your voice. Any kind of intuitive thing, if you want to turn off your camera, we don't care though. Whatever you want to do, just kind of shake it out. Let the body dispel. Good. So all that kind of movement, especially this intuitive led movement, I'm going to harness it in. So coming once again back and feeling that contrast of movement and stillness. Feeling the feet a comfortable distance apart, maybe a little wider than the hips or about as wide as the hips. And Uh, just sensing the architecture in your feet. Maybe if you want to rock a little bit forward and back. And just feeling how the weight is shifted, feeling that buoyancy in the feet. And so remembering, you can even look down, and we have these arches built in to support our foot and to support the weight coming down through gravity, this vertical plane of gravity, to transfer down through the body. So the domes of the body help to transfer and navigate and move this force of energy. And so sometimes we get flat feet, we get falling out to the outer arches, we have all these little habits in the feet where or maybe we just don't have this sense of embodiment, but just notice your feet and the contact with your floor, your mat. Really sense that tactile sensation through the sole of the foot. Maybe even sense this deeper earth, like your feet have little roots. You can feel through the earth. And then start to pull your awareness up, and you can even use your hands and actually kind of scoop. You're scooping the ground between the soles of the feet, and you're coming all the way up between your inner thighs to your pelvic floor. And feel, see if you can sense a response, like the pelvic floor goes, oh, I'm awake. You can feel that. And then release. So we're just going to do this with the breath. So we're going to exhale. Feel that little link between the feet and the pelvic floor. And then as we inhale, like your breath is filling out into the wholeness of the legs, into the ground itself. A couple more. Again, we're playing with these structures to orient our mind, but then we're also kind of bringing our awareness to that more energy body, that subtle body. Now start to bring, as you exhale, all the way up to the diaphragm. Open. And again, follow those links. Feel the feet communicating through the legs to the pelvic floor, to the diaphragm. And then as we inhale, how can we really feel our breath in this part of our body? One more. And then up to the next dome in the palate of the mouth. So when we align our domes, we're actually aligning our skeleton. The head, naturally, on a lot of people, when we have these postural habits, the head can come forward. When we are simply aligning our domes, our head naturally comes back. We don't have to know a lot about anatomy or do a lot of effort. We're just doing it off of this deeper sensory embodied experience, especially with linking the breath. And now adding one more dome into our awareness, the crown of the head. So pulling all the way up through. And then once we get to the crown of the head, reaching up and out. Energetically, the crown involves not only the top of the head, but the space above. Exhale through the central channel. And then inhale, open. And do it just intuitively. One more. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Find how to make it your own. Really listening to this dialogue with you, these inner structures, these inner sensations, these inner currents of energy and wisdom. And then just stand without the arms, which act like a gesture or mudra, to create more link, more awareness. And now just taking away that piece and see if you can still feel the echo, just with the breath, with the embodiment. And notice in your body, is there a dome that tends to hold tension? I know for me, when I get stressed or in a fearful place, I notice my pelvic floor goes into tight hold, my diaphragm too. And so just notice, can you find this relationship between just this movement, sort of this mobilization? What does it feel like to release the pelvic floor, to release the diaphragm, as well as to have these different positionings and different awarenesses of sensation. We don't get locked into place. Good. So now we're going to take this interior awareness into just a slightly different shape, warrior one. So we're taking one leg back. Feet are slightly wide, about as wide as the hips. Bending the front knee. And so just doing the same hand gesturing, scooping the earth. You might feel how the feet respond up through the pelvic floor, that whole central channel, the diaphragm, the palate of the mouth, the crown, and up and out. And then when we inhale, you can slightly straighten out that front leg. So that when we exhale, we're going into it. I do this a lot with my back hair classes because exhaling into the shape, again, just on a muscular level, it's communicating the tummy muscles, the pelvic floor. So it's all helping to stabilize pelvis, bringing support to healthy positioning for the spine. And again, you don't have to be an anatomy expert or even think about any of this anatomical stuff. Just seeing what's alive inside of you. And then finally, after what feels like a good final one for you, bring your arms to your side, shift your weight forward, and you can play here with a little balance, keeping your tippy toe to floor, lifting the leg. What's the echo of those domes, that energetic? How do your arms want to move? Do they want to stay at their side? Do they want to go out? Do they want to keep following this pattern? Does that feel good? Is that a nice mudra for you? Warrior three. And once we're done, hands to heart. Observe how you feel. Observe how the feet connect to the earth, connect to the whole. How does your breath move through you? It's the ease of your being, of your breath. Good. And then we'll do the other side. So other leg back. Coming upright. And again, just scooping through center. And just seeing what these little landmarks do for your mind. So, these are actual physical landmarks that all have function together. They all are affected in the function of breathing and stabilization of the skeleton, supporting movement, all kinds of things. Then yoga, on this energetic sense, this is a lot of the chakra points, these really concentrated areas of energy, are where these domes are. So there's a few other ones where the domes aren't in between them. Finish one or two more. But just how does it feel to have this inner orientation, these landmarks? How do you make it more your own? Good. And when you're ready, you can go to warrior three, which is a gentle little balance. You can tippy toe stay, you can lift, or you can even go into full horizontal, whatever expression with the arms. Keep going. And then when you're done, coming back down. And you can have your hands in whatever position. They can be at the heart and belly, maybe on some domes. Maybe if you notice there's a certain area where, like, oh yeah, I do hold a lot of tension in my jaw, or I'm holding a lot of tension in my diaphragm, put a hand there. Pretend like you have more hands than you have. How does it feel to hold, touch, wherever needs to be touched? One more breath. Good. So we're going to do Seated practice, just a little thing. These classes, I started them being just an hour and 15. It might go to an hour and a half. I'm just letting you know now, because there are a couple more things that I want us to really experience. So I'm going to have us do this seated, ideally in a chair, but you can also do it on the floor. So this is Maha Mudra. I'll demonstrate really briefly what it looks like on the floor. So we would be sitting with one leg up and in, sitting facing the leg. The traditional pose is hand here and really big. You have to have a lot of mobility. You can modify it. Modify it here. I'm just going to have a sit, taking even more complexity of the hamstring out of it, so you can really get what's going on here. Plus, I like doing this when I find it's a little more powerful for me in seated. And it's also really accessible. You're sitting there at your computer, just feeling a little out of your body, ungrounded. This is just such a great way just to come right into it. Really accessible. So start with your feet pretty wide. Again, how wide will depend, you'll see when we go into it. It'll depend on your body, you'll be able to adjust. And your feet are really rooted on the ground. Again, you might even just visualize that dome architecture through the foot, carry that awareness up to the hips, feel the positioning of your pelvis neutral. You're not overly sitting forward or back. So again, that creates this nice relationship with these domes in the body. And just relax here. And actually, let's, just in case there is tension, I feel a little bit in my body, I can take those shoulders back and down. Good. And so from here, we'll take our opposite hand to the opposite, or one hand to the opposite knee. You can place that hand under. And your head is still over your hips, so you didn't come way forward. You're still vertical, so wherever your arms land. Shoulders back and down. So when we just did that shoulder roll, shoulders aren't here, they're back and down. And you're twisting ever so slightly. So if this feels like too much, just bring your legs in a little bit more so you won't be in such a deep twist for your body. So find that if you want a deeper twist, bring the legs wider. And just find that positioning that you feel a little bit of something happening, but it's not distracting or cumbersome to maintain. And so your nose is looking out over your knee and toe, and your belly button is starting to look that direction too, and you're sitting nice and tall. So we're going to, let's start with a cat's or a lion's breath. So we're going to stick out the tongue. And just like when we were on all fours, we were pulling the belly back and going into a bit of a rounded back. So feel what really happens through the belly. We're not doing a big round in the back, but more just a little bit of retraction through the belly. Pause your breath. And then as you inhale, get nice and tall. Keep your chin in. Notice you're not thrusting the ribs forward, just keeping nice and tall. Good. Again, exhale. You can imagine the organs are really moving, the tissues, the muscles behind the organs, the psoas. All these delicate structures of the spine. Pause your breath and then inhale, get tall. Good, so we can just keep doing that a few times. You can do it with the tongue out or not. Without, it's just normal out through the nostrils. And like when we were on all fours doing the cat, follow the air from the pelvic floor. Feel the pelvic floor actually lifting. See if you can access that sensation. And so for these final 4, if you want to go into one step more advancement, see how it feels to keep the pelvic floor engaged. So it's a muscle. So as you exhale, pelvic floor is lifting, diaphragm is lifting, air is leaving the body, keep the chin in. As you inhale, keep the pelvic floor engaged. Keep the chin in. And then again, as you exhale, reinforce that. Lifting. Inhale, keep it engaged. Two more breaths, whether you're keeping it engaged or not. If this feels like too much, or if you already have a lot of tension in the pelvic floor and this kind of re-exacerbates that, then just use the inhale to fill out and release into it. But if it's helpful for you to feel that application, that lift, we call this a bandha or a lock, it can actually help to distribute the air, give you more opening, just like when we were in child's pose. Good, and then finally, after we finish the last one, let the body unwind. And see how the body finds center. Observe the sensations you feel. Letting those locks go. So not only did we do the root lock, but by keeping the chin in. This was a Jalandhara chin lock. And so by, again, locking these 2 points above and below the diaphragm, we're really helping to give some access and movement to the diaphragm. But we can also feel the movement between. Kind of a more of an energetic movement. You're not actually moving the palate of the mouth so much as the diaphragm is moving, but it's more of just an energetic movement. So we're going to go to the other side. So find what feels like a good positioning of the legs, a good rotation of the spine. Is my spine vertical? Am I comfortable? What do I need to do to make this easeful? Shoulders are back, elbows are straight. And so a few without the bandha, as we inhale, get tall, or the mula bandha. And as we exhale, pausing your breath, holding a good 2 to 3 seconds. Keep that lift happening through the pause. And then as you inhale, just let the belly relax, let the pelvic floor relax. Do that one or two more times. And for the last few, if you want to experiment with the bandha, with the root lock, as well as the chin lock, same exhale. Keep the pelvic floor lifted as you get tall through the inhales, keeping that chin in. Reinforce with the exhale. But keep going, a few more on your own. Long breaths, especially that good 2 to 3 second pause after exhale. Whatever you're doing with the locks. Less is more. So if you're doing it, it feels really cumbersome, strenuous, your mind is questioning, like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, just back off. Just do like a cat-cow. Make it more easeful. The idea is to free up these structures that assist in breathing, that are part of the breathing. When you finish what feels like an even amount for this side, slowly return to center. Observe how you feel. Then we can do just a little cat-cow here. So exhaling, coming back, really feeling the movement through the belly. Pause briefly. And wait for that inhale to come, kind of spilling out into your back body, almost lifting you up without effort. You can make this exaggerated and deep, or you can make it just so subtle. Like it's just the breath moving, even though your spine might have a lot more range of motion, you're just allowing the spine to move as much as the breath is wanting to move. So easy. Good. Last one. Good. And then pause, observe how you feel. You can have your hands on your lap, against each other, or anywhere on the body. Any of those points that just deepen your presence, deepen your embodiment. And so now we'll take ourselves to the floor for a final relaxation pose before we go into Shavasana. So we'll have our bolsters nearby. And let's see, actually, I'll demonstrate. So I'm thinking some kind of like a heart opening posture. So there's a few different ways we could do it. If you're wanting to keep the spine, kind of just neutral spine for whatever reason, you can take your bolster or a bunch of blankets and lay on top of them, tail on one side, head on the other. If your head doesn't quite fit, you might need a pillow or something else under. So your spine is nice and neutral. And then from here, you can experiment with, does it feel better to have my legs straight, bent, maybe on a chair or resting on my bed? A lot of different ways to do it. So that's one variation. Another thing, if you want to do more of a reclining shape, we can do Baddha-Konasana, Virasana, or Supta Baddha-Konasana, Supta Virasana, or any kind of reclining pose. So your hips are on the floor, and your cushion is kind of just about touching the sacrum, and then we're resting back on cushions here. So the traditional shape is feet together, knees wide, but you can do whatever feels good. You can keep them bent. If this feels like too horizontal, you can bring yourself even more vertical. Just kind of making it more of a stepwise lift, actually. So the more cushions you have, the higher your upper body will be. Just get into a shape that feels easeful. If anything feels like it's not quite it, adjust it. Your cushions, stagger them a bit more. Again, this is where the online is a little bit challenging. I can't see you and say, oh, try this or that. But just use your props to just make your body just like it's in this little cocoon or this little womb. So you can also put props under your legs, under your arms. So check in. What part of your body feels, if it doesn't feel comfortable, what kind of prop could you use? Do you need something more under your head, under an arm, under your low back? Do you need to change the position of your legs? Do you need something underneath your knees? And if all else fails, you can just take a longer Shavasana. Just ditch the props altogether. Just find that comfort into the ground. And so as you settle in this shape, feel all of these wonderful supports, these wonderful props holding you. Just feeling how that feels to be held. And especially now, especially in this time of isolation, that sensation of being held, that physical pressure and support on our body. Feel it there. And just noticing, through that noticing, if anything shifts in your body, anything just lets go. What is the body shedding, communicating, shifting with that simple awareness? You were in the shape, but then you brought this deeper awareness and a shift happened. So notice that phenomenon. And then using that tool of guiding and harnessing our awareness back into the interior body now. So we just felt the exterior, now the interior. Then we're holding ourselves from within just by our own presence there. How does it feel to hold your attention on these different points we've been focusing on, the different domes? Again, you're not trying to fix or change anything with them. You're just putting your attention on each one in its own time. Pelvic floor, feet, diaphragm, palate, crown. And notice if there's any different sensation. The simple link of your presence there. And then notice your breathing. And maybe invite your breathing to stretch out a bit if it wasn't already. Elongating and really savoring into those pauses. The breath moves, moving. Sensation, energy, deeper wisdom is moving. And so you can imagine with yogis and their energetic system, just by having this mental relationship with this interior and the relationships within this interior, you could see how it really assists us, gives us choice, or gives us access into moving sensation, clearing our energy. And so as you're breathing here, as you're resting, as you're noticing moving sensation, maybe imagine what you'd like to bring in to this body and this being. So we've just been clearing so much energy. Maybe you actually want to spend more time clearing. Maybe it feels good to clear with an intention, like I'm clearing the stress from this week, or I'm clearing this worry about this future outcome. But you can also now bring in, I wish to feel peace. I wish to feel ease. I wish to feel wholeness. Whatever this deeper knowing, this deeper desire, this deeper need, intention is for you, bring that in right now, the possibility of it. Because whatever it is that you sense that you need, that's your medicine, that's your body knowing. So just see how it feels to drop in that medicine as you breathe, connected to this interior presence. Maybe this medicine is something that wants to move even beyond you. Just like you have your one diaphragm, it wants to move into a relationship with another person, a group of people, the planet. So maybe feel with your breath as you inhale, extending that sensation, that embodiment outward beyond you to include that other entity, that other being, that other energy. And how does that feel? What are you receiving as you give? Maybe it's even future you. Maybe it's even your ancestors, this past, this linear sense of time. About 4 more breaths here, whatever intimate process you're in with your breath. Maybe you're just breathing and observing and enjoying a quiet pause in your day. So trust that those echoes are rippling, just like when you drop a stone in water and you feel that ripple. And just imagine this sort of infinite energetic ripple still in process within you, always, always there. And come back to the still waters of this present moment. This breath, this feel into the body now, especially if you kind of went far. With your fingers, your toes, spread them out, stretch in any way that feels good. And just let the body guide you into any counter shapes, wiggles, gentle stretches, unwinds that feel good here. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to make your way off of your cushion. Resting flat on your back for Shavasana. So just see how good it feels to feel that real rooted, firm presence of the earth. We won't be super long here, just to integrate everything. So your legs can be stretched out on the floor, on a bolster. You can have your legs up on a chair or on your bed, couch. Everything becomes a yoga prop when you do it at home. Maybe your dog. So as you're resting in Shavasana, just giving everything that you just experienced, giving this body to the support of the earth. Surrender. Feel how your breath comes to this very light, natural, sleeping breath. You're just watching, getting a glimpse into how you might be sleeping. Such peaceful life force moving through you always. And then your mind, that watching mind, that witness, deep mind to the thinking mind, the mind that is consciousness itself. Surrendering into that container of presence, allowing it to hold you, just like the cushions do. Enjoy these few quiet, integrating, connected moments here. So just another couple breaths in this space. Trusting this presence, this depth is always available. And then you can take another couple longer sweeping breaths. And just imagine maybe that echo of that intention moving through you, or just feeling that energy, finding the domes, whatever interior connection feels good. And then we can reach the arms and legs, feel the whole body start to move. And then when you're ready, you can roll to your side. Take your time coming up to seated. Feel free to have a cushion under your seat. Settle in so that you're really, just like when our back was really present against the ground, we can feel that through the base of our pelvis, that root in our body, that dome, that energy. And feeling how when that energy feels connected and supported, you can feel that link through the whole central channel, all the domes above. And we can do 3 more breaths. We can do that same mudra we did throughout class, or you can just visualize yourself doing it. We're going to inhale with the hands at our root. And as we exhale, imagine you're scooping. You can feel that movement through you all the way through center. And then as you inhale, opening to whatever depth, presence, knowing, all the way down. Linking in whatever expansive way is intuitive and right for you. So do that a few more times. Exhale through the channel. You can make it your own. So if you want to do something slightly different, do that. And then hands can come in whatever mudra or whatever position against your body feels perfectly resonant. And one last breath here, just connecting. This feeling of self connected. Fullness you just invited in. And thank you for sharing your morning and coming to class this morning. May you all be well and truly know peace. Namaste. May we all. Don't forget your big hug. Thank you guys. You still recording? Good. Yeah. I'll turn that off. Mwah.